Welcome to Thundersport GB race action from Cadwell Park. Surely one of the greatest motorbike racing circuits in the world. Every sort of challenge, great corners, really stupendous straights, and lots of up and down the hills, including the infamous mountain, where if your wheel doesn't come off the ground, frankly, you ain't going quick enough. Down in the collecting ring, it's Steve Dale.
Well, first race of the day is here. It's the LMB Streetfighters. Wet conditions, wet tyres. Championship leader here, Keith Smith, Barry Utting in Street Fighter B, and Tony Hughes in Street Fighter C. They've been running away with it so far, but wet conditions can throw up some tricky results. Keith, are you confident here in wet?
Yeah, not too bad. Fairly confident. I go quite well in it, so looking forward to it.
Well, there you go. You heard it first. They're ready to go racing, and so are we. Robin, over to you.
Thanks very much, Steve. Yes, the LMB Streetfighters coming to the grid, and some additions, particularly in Class A. We see the front row there, Keith Smith, Andy Denyer. That glorious triumph of the grease smeller brute there. Stickers courtesy of Pro Decals. Barry Utting, the Class B leader, on the outside of that front row. And it's going to be watch the lights time. Couple of additions to the grid in Class A, Steve. Dave Milling and Chris Dixon.
Yes, both riders from our GP1 grid, they've made their way into the Street Fighters, and a welcome addition. We needed a few more riders, and let's see if Keith Smith will find himself with some competition. At the front, though, it is the Smeller Brute, as you said, number 33, Andy Denyer, the 2009 A champion that leads. We're just seeing a shot there of Duncan McMillan on the Supermoto machine going round Charlie's. You're mentioning about additions. I should just mention about a rider that hasn't made the grid. I've just heard Phil Doody, 147, hasn't made the grid because he stacked it on the way to the collecting area.
That must be some sort of record. We'll never let that one go. Yes, it is Andy Denyer up the front. Now, the other thing to mention, Steve, we've noticed it this weekend already, the Class C machines, which have the least power on the grid, of course, that disadvantage not so noticeable when you get these foul conditions at a place like Cadwell Park.
No, and they're used to the bike moving around a bit as well, of course, from their Supermoto experience, and they don't handle too badly, but having said that, rather them than me, as they make their way around Mansfield Corner. It is Andy Denyer that leads from Keith Smith, number 40. Just behind is Dave Milling, number 85. There he is.
A good start made by Dave on his first weekend in the Street Fighters. And behind, we see Mick Everett. Now, Mick Everett is the leading Street Fighter C runner. There, chasing up the hill, number 52, is Sean Goldsmith. Sean, once again, out on his X-road bike. I think we'll have to call it X now. It's the MV Augusta, and he's been making a few changes to it since Anglesey and really getting down and enjoying it. And he looks as though he's going to complete the rest of the season on it.
Yes, he's just being overtaken there by Mick Everett, I believe. Tony Hughes a little bit further down, but Goldsmith, great to have him back out on the Augusta, and let's hope he's got the handling issues sorted out, because it was like a buckaroo at Anglesey. At the front, though, it is still Denyer from Smithy.
Yep, Smithy knows that his machine has the pace, but he has to worry about taking too many risks in these conditions. This is that difficult stage of the year, and it's true in all these championships. They're all around about the halfway mark, and if you've got fat points up the top of the championship, you just do not want to risk all that you've done so far this year. So they'll be a little bit circumspect as Denyer leads Smith at the top of the race, and of course at the top of Class A.
Now, of course, in Thundersport GB this season, you can drop one round, so if you do have a bit of a howler, then you do have the advantage of dropping your worst round. But of course, that doesn't mean to say that you should deliberately not perform very well. And at the front here, Dave Milling just catching up with the two leaders here. There's Denyer, 33, sponsored by Brute, going across there, and Keith Smith. No, you're not going to go up the inside in there, Keith.
He had thought, though, didn't he? I think he was just doing that to keep the marshals entertained. But I tell you what, Dave Milling, this is very impressive stuff indeed. Not only is he not being dropped by the two guys ahead, he's actually quicker than them over the lap. So this a good first effort in the Street Fighters from Dave.
Yes, and Dave, of course, having come from the GP1 class, this will be a good test for him, because that GP1 class, mighty, mighty competitive. As Jamie Wilkins is finding out, last year's Street Fighter A champion in GP1 this year. He's in around the top 5 of the Superstock Championship and not having things his own way.
Yes, another very competitive run in Street Fighter C. There we see number 14, Brad David. Oh, and rider down there, Steve, at Barn once again.
Yeah, that's could be Steve Bradbury, I think, just going down at Barn there. Slippery corner here at Cadwell Park. Offline, of course, you've got the moss and the leaves, so not full of grip around Barn Corner, but it's further up the field. There's Mick Everett, number 5, just ahead of Sean Goldsmith. There's Barry Utting, leader of Class B.
Yeah, Barry Utting, who's been fighting it out with the leaders in Class A in the drive. Look at this, Smithy runs up the inside of Andy Denyer, so Keith Smith takes the lead. Andy Denyer in second, and look at Dave Milling, he's all over the back of Denyer's Triumph.
Yes, and surely he's not going to have a look up the outside into the gooseneck, an awkward corner to try and make a move, but he's going to have a look up the inside into Mansfield. Not a lot of grip there, but he's made it stick. Good move there from Milling. What's happened to Denyer? He looks like he's sitting up a little bit. Has he got a problem?
Yeah, well, have to wait and see. They've got to get past the back markers. We're only really going to be able to tell by his lap times, but he's picking his way carefully there past Mark Lum. But up the hill they run. We have our new leader, Keith, Mr. Potato Head Smith. There he is, charging along, and Dave Milling in second, and he has that body language, Dave Milling, that says, this race ain't done yet, son.
Yeah, absolutely. A bit further back then. Here you see Mick Everett. Great ride from him in the Supermoto class ahead of Goldsmith. There's Tony Hughes, leader of the C's, ahead of leader of the B's, Barry Utting. So, as you mentioned at the top of the show, the Supermoto bike's faring well. Here's Dave Milling then, and look out. He's managed to get past Keith Smith and takes the lead, and he's pulling away already.
It's fantastic, and that comes off the back of fastest lap of the race so far. There's Andy Denyer on that beautifully turned out Triumph, that great sticker work on it, but Andy, I think, probably now concentrating on bringing that safely home in one piece for the points.
Well, he's just streaking away from them now. Dave Milling, he must have found some confidence from somewhere, or found a bit of extra grip, because he's just flying through Hall Bends, and having been in 3rd position for quite a long time, he's now got the lead and pulled away. Where is Smithy? I mean, he's miles behind. Great victory this is going to be then for number 85, Dave Milling.
Brilliantly done. Great stuff indeed. And yes, he has stretched it. Well, Dave, a point to prove, and I think he has proved it there. An excellent win for Dave Milling. And once again, Barry Utting's bringing it home in Street Fighter B. But look at this, Dave Milling the win, Keith Smith second, Andy Denyer third. But Tony Hughes picking up the Class C win in 4th. Sean Goldsmith was 5th. Barry Utting winning B in 5th. And there we see the Street Fighter C 1, 2, 3. And in Class B, Barry Utting taking it from Rob Norman and Barry Rudge. In Street Fighter A, well, the win going to Dave Milling from Keith Smith and Andy Denyer.
Winner of Street Fighter A, Dave Milling. Dave, tricky conditions today, but they seem to have favoured you out there.
Yeah, it was spot on. Really enjoyed it. Once got to the front, I could see where I was going, but before then I couldn't see. But no, it was excellent.
Competition's quite tough in this class. Keith Smith and Andy Denyer have been running away with things recently, so you must be happy with 25 points there. Yeah,
I'm pretty pleased. I'm going to see if we can catch them a bit more in the next few rounds. But we've moved from the GP1 class to the Street Fighter class because the Millys haven't got a chance. But no, it's going good.
Well done to you, Dave. Anyone to thank at all?
Yeah, I'd thank the team, the pit crew, Dixie, and like I say, thanks Meg, and also Mandy, my girlfriend, and my 3 boys have been helping me a lot.
All right, well done to you, Dave. We're going to move over to Barry Utting now. Barry, what do you make of the horrible conditions here this weekend?
Well, I enjoyed the race, that's quite good, but I could do without the weather. It's not really my kind of thing. I'd rather be in the van.
And we still need some more Street Fighter B competitors.
Yeah, it's getting a bit desperate. There's some good lads coming up now, but we could do with some more in it, really, yeah.
All right, well done to Barry Utting then, Penrith Motorcycles. Move on to Tony Hughes. Tony, Duncan McMillan said to me last night in the bar that he was going to catch up and try and get a win here today. So what did you make of that race?
Well, I thought it was great. I mean, I like the wet. I mean, wet or dry for me, it doesn't really matter. It's all good racing. It's nice when the rain comes, though. It's a nice big leveller for the so we can catch up to some of the B's and A's and give them a real mix it with them, like. So I've really enjoyed today, and to come from so far back then, I had a bad start and I couldn't see a thing, and then next minute I just opened my visor and I had to have visor half up, and I kept on going using the markers and picked them off one by one. Well,
thanks to Duncan McMillan there. Well done to you, Tone. We'll see you for the next one.
Thanks a lot.